Late one night, Sarah sat alone in her dimly lit apartment, scrolling through TikTok, when her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Look outside your window." A chill ran down her spine. She hesitated, but curiosity got the better of her. She slowly walked to the window, pulling back the curtain just enough to peek out. The street was empty, shrouded in darkness. She sighed in relief and let the curtain fall back into place. Her phone buzzed again. This time the message read, "I see you." Her heart pounded as she looked around the room, but she was alone. She tried to shake off the unease and turned to head back to the couch. But before she could take a step, another message arrived. It was a photo, her living room, taken from behind her. The timestamp showed it was taken just moments ago. She froze, feeling the hairs on her neck stand up. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Then, the phone buzzed again. "I'm closer than you think." Her breath caught in her throat as she noticed something in the reflection of the dark TV screen. A figure standing just inches behind her, its twisted grin barely visible in the shadows. The phone buzzed one last time. "Run." But before she could react, the lights went out, plunging her into complete darkness. The room was suddenly alive with sounds, the creak of floorboards, the rustle of fabric, the faint echoing whispers that seemed to come from all around her. Sarah's breath came in ragged gasps as she struggled to make sense of the situation. Her phone's screen was the only source of light, and it barely cut through the oppressive darkness. She knew she had to move, but terror had rooted her to the spot. She could feel the presence behind her, closer now, almost brushing against her. Gathering every ounce of courage she had left, she bolted for the door, her feet pounding against the floor as she ran blindly through the darkened apartment. The whispers grew louder, more urgent, as if they were chasing her, driving her forward. Her hands fumbled for the doorknob, her fingers slick with sweat. She could hear the figure moving closer, its breath hot on the back of her neck. Finally, she managed to wrench the door open and stumbled out into the hallway, slamming the door shut behind her. She didn't stop running until she reached the stairwell, her heart hammering in her chest. The hallway was eerily quiet, the usual hum of the building's machinery conspicuously absent. Sarah's phone buzzed in her hand again, and she almost dropped it in her haste to check the screen. It was another message, but this time it wasn't from the unknown number. It was from her friend, Jess. "Are you okay? I just got the weirdest call from your number, but all I could hear was static and this strange whispering." Sarah's blood ran cold. She hadn't made any calls. Whatever had been in her apartment, whatever had been stalking her, had somehow used her phone. The thought was too much to bear. She quickly typed out a reply, her fingers shaking so badly she could barely hit the right keys. "Jess, I need help. Something is in my apartment. I don't know what to do." The reply came almost immediately. "Get out of there. I'm coming to get you. Stay in the lobby." Sarah took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She made her way down the stairs, each step echoing ominously in the silence. When she reached the lobby, it was deserted. The usual night guard was nowhere to be seen, and the doors leading outside were locked. She pressed herself against the glass, peering out into the empty street, hoping to see Jess's car pulling up. But the street was empty, just as it had been when she looked out her window. The only light came from the flickering street lamp, casting strange, shifting shadows across the pavement. Sarah could feel the fear gnawing at her, threatening to overwhelm her. She needed to stay calm, to focus on getting out of this nightmare. Her phone buzzed again. Dreading what she would see, she looked down at the screen. It was another text from the unknown number, and this time it was a video. With trembling hands, she pressed play. The video was shaky, as if it had been recorded by someone in a hurry. It showed the inside of her apartment, the camera panning from the living room to the hallway and then into her bedroom. The door to her closet was ajar, and the camera zoomed in on the darkness within. As the camera moved closer, Sarah could hear a soft whispering in the background, growing louder with each passing second. The camera stopped just outside the closet door, the darkness inside impenetrable. The whispering intensified, and then with a sudden jolt, the camera cut off, the screen going black. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at the blank screen. She had no idea what she had just witnessed, but she knew one thing for certain. Whatever was in her apartment, it was still there, hiding in the darkness, waiting for her. A faint sound broke the silence, a low, creaking noise that seemed to come from the direction of the stairwell. Sarah froze, her breath catching in her throat. The sound grew louder, more distinct, as if someone, or something, was slowly descending the stairs. She turned to face the stairwell, her phone held out in front of her like a shield. The dim light barely penetrated the darkness, but she could see a shadowy figure at the top of the stairs, its outline just barely visible. It was the same figure she had seen in the reflection of her TV, the same twisted grin, the same malevolent presence. The figure began to move, slowly, deliberately, its footsteps echoing through the empty lobby. Sarah's mind screamed at her to run, to get out of there, but her body refused to obey. She was rooted to the spot, paralyzed by fear. As the figure drew closer, Sarah's phone buzzed one last time. With a shaking hand, she looked at the screen. The message was short, simple, and utterly terrifying. You can't hide. The lights in the lobby flickered, then went out completely, plunging Sarah into total darkness. The last thing she heard before the darkness swallowed her was the sound of the figure's footsteps, impossibly close, and a low, menacing whisper that sent a final wave of terror through her body. Then there was nothing but silence.